F1 2023 starts tomorrow, so here's your predictions, and there's going to be some big boy spoilers in here. And
I just want to point out my predictions last year were atrocious.
I think you got more than me.
No, a bit less than you.
Did you?
Aye.
Well, I know Wheel then, you know he hot of said Wheel, but are they going to be better this year?
I'm hoping so. I'll be honest, I haven't really been following much, so I doubt my predictions will be good. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just hoping I get a couple right.
Right, so we're going to start with the drivers and then we'll end with the constructors, because I feel like once you build your drivers, then it's pretty obvious where you go.
I don't know how they feel. There's talk of Alonso having a car that can potentially be a regular podium car, and that just sounds too good to be true for me. Either they turn up and the Aston Martin sucks, or the Aston Martin's great and Alonso snaps both legs and Friday practice session 1. That's
like like Stroll with his wrist. But we have to start with P20. Who's going to take over Latifi's position? I've went with, could be surprising, Yuki Tsunoda.
I've got him close to 20th, but not quite 20th. I'm going to go with this Sargent guy, the new Williams driver. I don't know anything about him. That doesn't mean he's crap, but normally if you don't know someone, the odds are they're more likely to be bad than great. So
the reason why I've put Tsunoda last is because I feel like AlphaTauri, right, aren't going to be very good. Williams will probably be worse, but Williams have a, like, see when it's Monza or a track with straight line speed, Williams can get points.
Yeah.
And therefore I feel like they will. So with Yuki, I think he's one of the most overrated drivers on the grid. I actually have no idea why he's even got... People can talk about Mick Schumacher, right, and he wasn't good, but how can anyone say or have a case for Tsunoda's better than Mick Schumacher? You can't.
Yeah, perfect.
And considering Helmut Marko's in charge, I've no idea why. So I've Yuki 20th and 19th. I've Sargent, who you've put 20th, which I feel like is fair enough. He's in the worst car.
I've just got it the opposite way about. I've got Sargent last with Tsunoda 19th.
Well, that's pretty self-explanatory. So moving on to 18th, who have you got?
I've got Nick de Vries.
Yes, I've Nick de Vries in there because I'm predicting hee-haw for AlphaTauri, and I feel like that's fair enough.
Yeah, I think AlphaTauri could be the worst team this year.
I think de Vries just proves my logic. He stepped in at one race last year, got points. It was Monza and a Williams car that's very suited to tracks with, low downforce. 17th though.
Yeah, Nick de Vries. Nick de Vries is 27. It's very rare you break into Formula 1 at 27. Now, what that tells me is he's just not very good.
Yep.
I mean, how many drivers don't break into F1 till 27?
I'd say
over the years, how many 27-year-olds might even be 20,
if you haven't broken into F1 by the time you're 25, there's an issue. See, these days, man, it's teens. It's not even 20s, it's teens you're breaking in.
So, yeah, I'm not saying he'll be the worst driver on the grid. I'm just not expecting anything major.
Yeah, 17th, I've went with Albon.
Before we move on, though, do you think we've got a weak grid in general? I mean, cause I hear a lot of people saying these are like glory days of F1 and stuff like this, and I'm just not sure I'm buying that, man. I just look at the grid.
Part of me thinks yes, and part of me thinks no.
I don't know.
Because I think the three we've just mentioned belong nowhere near F1.
Yeah.
Like, literally nowhere near. Like, I can't really have a case for any three of them. But because you just look at people who are on the sidelines, and like, I know Rosberg's retired, but it's fucking sick that Rosberg's wasted years of his career. Like, people like Kimi, Vettel.
I don't know, I'm thinking of previous years where you've had like Jarno Trulli and Kovalainen and a fucking backmarker.
Kovalainen was pish, I never rated him.
Oh, I'd take him over the Vries, Tsunoda or Sargent. I mean, you'd Glock and a Virgin, or whatever it was called.
Well, there you go. Right, 17th I went with Albon though.
I went with Albon as well. I think Albon will, if we call this wee battle the best of the rest, I believe they'll be the slowest two teams. And I've went with Albon to... Right. I think Albon is pretty... I think Albon's alright. I mean, yeah, he didn't do good at Red Bull, but... that's what it is.
Who has?
The car is finished, is it, to Max?
So, I think this is where things are going to go
Let's
different.
Let's be real. All Max's teammates, Perez has done the best, and even then, he's not even
did a good job. He did the bog standard job.
You get some races where he does what you expect of him, and then you get other races where he's just like nowhere near the pace. But whatever.
I know. But 16th, I've went with Oscar Piastri.
I went with Sue.
Guan Yu Zhou.
Going with Sue, alright.
Now, have you kept an eye on testing? Have you seen McLaren?
Yeah, they're not good, but I do think they'll improve.
Alright, fair enough. So I've put him 16th on the simple. I think he's overrated. I think McLaren won't be that good, and I feel like.
Well, he's won everything he's been in, and I get that. Sometimes these lower series aren't that competitive or whatever, but.
I know, but you gotta be real. Like, I don't think.
A lot of people are saying he'll beat Norris.
Fucking dead on.
And if he's anywhere as good as Norris, so I actually think it's great, then.
But that is the reason why I'm putting Piastri 16th, because I feel like McLaren will not be very good. Testing was not good for them. I mean, their car just breaks down and can't. Well, it wasn't breaking down per se. It was more just issues with like wheels, and had it last year with brakes and the sort of managed to fix it.
Yeah, but let's be real. McLaren were poor last year at the start, and then by the end, Norris was,
Aye, Norris, mate. We've got another Aussie in the car. Might not be as bad as Danny Rick, but again, with Piastri, this whole thing where he snubbed Alpine, that could come to bite him in the fucking arse. I mean, that was big ball stuff, then, what he did, but he did it. It could have turned out a worldie. It could turn out to be bad, but I'm putting him 16th. You've went with Guan Yu Zhou 16th?
Yep.
I can see why. I've got Guan Yu Zhou 14th myself, because I think the Alpha will start strong and then peter out as the year
forget
goes
about
on.
who you got in 14th, who you got in 15th.
K-Mag.
I've got Nico Hulkenberg in 15th.
Oh, so you think K-Mag's going to do better than Hulkenberg?
Aye.
Both guys,
Hold on.
love-hate relationship.
Magnussen's been putting in good performances for multiple seasons now. I feel like Hulkenberg, the fact he's been in and out of a car, basically been reduced to testing. He'll get the odd race when someone pulls it, but
he's more consistent. Magnussen is Captain Meatball Flag, where he breaks his front wing every fucking race. He does. I feel like with Hulkenberg, Hulkenberg for me is perfect compared to Mick Schumacher, because he will be consistent and not bin it. I mean, he's not going to get you a podium because he just doesn't do that. But
he couldn't do it in his prime when he had better cars.
Is it not mad though that Hulkenberg's like 45?
Yeah.
That makes me feel old. Honestly, that's pretty insane. So who have you got 15th?
I mean, I'd love Hulkenberg to get a podium, it'd be nice.
You've got him 15th?
I've got him 15th.
Who have you got 14th?
K-Mag.
So yeah, you think Haas will be a point scoring capable car, but not exactly here. We're knocking on the door.
That's the ticket.
Will Hulkenberg get a podium this year?
No.
14th, I've went with Joe. Who have you went with?
Told you I went with 14th, K-Mag.
Alright, 13th, I've went with Hulkenberg. So
I went with Valtteri.
I've went with Valtteri 12th. I feel like Alpha will be. I've seen a lot of people predicting Joe to beat Bottas.
Not based on that.
I mean,
what I would say, I mean, if you compare it to the F1 Manager game, Joe's a long way behind.
Nah, yes.
Because for some reason in that game, Bottas is rated the third best, and Joe's not rated that good. But I feel like the longer the last season went on, Joe was getting a lot closer to Bottas.
No, he
started out qualifying.
He got a lot of unlucky reliability last year. Big Guan Yu Zhou
At the start of the season, Bottas was a lot quicker, no doubt about it. But I feel like Joe did close the gap. I just think
Bottas is Mr. Inconsistent. He can literally be great, and in the next minute he's the worst guy in the grid. Literally, it's not even an exaggeration. So who have you went with 12?
I went with Pierre Gasly.
Pierre Gasly, oui. Yeah, not a good season for him last year. And I don't think Alpine... I mean, they could be as good as they were last year, but I think there's just one team that's going to beat them, and therefore it's just going to knock them down a bit. I've went with Gasly 11th. So yeah, I think he's going to finish behind his teammate Ocon. I think it'll be interesting to see how those two get on.
11th, I've got Piastri.
Aye. Pistari. So what is he, fucking spaghetti?
Piastri.
I'll be shocked if he finishes that high up.
We'll see.
We'll see. I mean, who have you got 10th?
Lance Stroll.
I've Stroll 9th. So, right, if we're going to talk about Aston Martin here, we're going to talk about when we get to the guy that's actually going to produce stuff for Aston Martin.
We'll wait till the guy that's actually going to score the majority.
Right, well, no, but let's be real, right? If Aston Martin is as good as everyone believes them to be, would it not be a fucking embarrassment if Stroll doesn't finish at least 8th? Broken wrists or no broken wrists?
We'll see. I feel like Austin Martin could be good, then fizzle out. I don't know. I mean,
No, but you say that. See the last 2 years, right? They've
they've
started
got
off
better.
shite. But me, see by the end of last year, I'd say Aston Martin were like the fifth fastest car.
Vettel was consistently putting in good.
Once they got that Hungary upgrade in, yeah. So I went with Norris 10th. So you've put him.
I haven't went with Norris yet. I put Stroll 10th.
Yeah, I put Stroll 9th, so we're about the same area.
Moving into 9th, I've got Ocon.
Esteban Ocon, Este Beste. Yeah, I think he will be like best of the rest, so to speak, but not quite best of the rest. P8, I've went with Ocon.
P8, I've went with Norris.
Yeah, I feel like Norris. I mean, he could get it. I mean, like we said, the McLaren probably will get better, but I think he's going to have to drag the fucking arse out of it, which he can do. Now, we'll move into the top 7. I think this where stuff gets interesting. I think there's one guy nailed on for
Well,
7.
we've got the top 7 the same here, so I don't know in order, but we're definitely got the same top 7.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think there's a guy nailed on for 7th, and it may not be the guy you're thinking of. And I've went with Georgie boy, Georgie the Jungle. George
Wait,
Russell.
When you say nailed on for 7th, do you mean nailed on for 7th place, or do you mean nailed on for a top 7 finish? I was thinking Max Verstappen.
Oh, yeah, Max Verstappen. But no, I'm joking about it. I was trying to make it seem like I was putting Alonso 7th, but I'm actually not putting him 7th. I'm putting George Russell 7th.
Same, I put a Russell 7th.
Now, this is, I don't really like Russell, but I think he's good.
I think he's good, but I thought... I don't think last season was a fair reflection. I do think he got a lot more luck than Hamilton did.
This is why he's going to finish 7th, right? Red Bull will be too good. Ferrari will just get their act together.
Hopefully.
How Mercedes were that close to Ferrari, considering the fucking difference at the start of the year, I don't know how, right? Let's just blame
Ferrari bottled it.
Let's just blame it on Binotto.
Ferrari really should have been competing for the title, and instead they almost lost second place in the constructors.
Yep. And,
really.
you know, right, his teammate Hamilton, I think Hamilton's not going to be twice in a row. And Alonso, I've put in Alonso 6th for the simple reason is
Same.
I think if Mercedes are slower than Aston at the start, I can see them running experimental shit. And I just think Alonso, well, this will be Alonso's best season probably since 2012 if the car is within a sniff of the podium every race. I think he's going to be fucking 110. And I think there'll be an element of Mercedes of, oh, we're a bit shit here, we're not going to be giving it a all.
I mean, I would have loved to put Alonso first, but I had to settle for 6th.
Bit of a downgrade, right? But can Alonso win a race this year? Or what?
Absolutely,
There's talk of Verstappen doing 23-0. Like Undertaker.
I hope not, man.
I know, I hope not too, but...
Can Max no snap a few legs and miss the first, 5 races?
Well, that's it.
That would make things interesting.
That's it. Right, anyway, 5th, I went with Carlos Sainz.
5th, I went with Sergio Perez.
It's a bit low down for Sergio. I mean, if he's got the... I mean, if the Red Bull's as good as people think it is, I don't see how he finishes 5th.
I think it might not be as good as people think it is. We'll see.
Well, yeah, we'll see. I went with Sainz. I like Sainz. I think he's going to have a much better year, but I just think out of the top guys, he is... the number one drivers in the top 3 teams, he's not anywhere near their... not anywhere near, but he's not, he's not those 3. And yeah, I think he will beat Russell and Alonso, so I'll put him 5th. 4th, I went with Hamilton, because I feel like Mercedes won't be too good in a, title challenging way. And I feel like, yes, he's going to get podiums. He probably will win this year. He didn't win last year, so I'll go with 4th. You've went with Hamilton. Why do you think he's 4th?
But he's Lewis Hamilton, 7-time world champ. He'll finish top.
Do you think Lewis Hamilton will win another title? I don't.
No.
I don't. I think he's entering the I'm a world champion, but I haven't won it in 10 years sort of realm.
The problem is he's getting older and he's got a competitive teammate. Now, if Aston Martin deliver Alonso a title-winning car, I can see Alonso win the title because he's racing against Lance Stroll.
We have to be real though, right? See Hamilton. He had a dominant car, won it every year apart from Rosberg, right? So Rosberg was good. I'm not going to just bury Hamilton here, but the 1 year Verstappen had a car as good as him.
He won it.
Yep. And then the year where he didn't have a car that was dominant or not as good as the top
nowhere
2,
near him.
He finished 6th in the drivers. Is Hamilton overrated or is it just...
What about there was years where the Red Bull was nowhere near the Merc, and Max was still mixing it up.
Yeah, exactly.
He was still.
I mean, let's be real. Like Max, I mean, if Red Bull continue on this trend, Max could be a 7-time world champion in fucking no time.
Well, 6 years, mate.
No, but no time.
Well, 6 years is a lot of time.
5 years. He's already double.
Is he?
He won last year and the year before. You
That's
nugget.
what he did, aye.
All right,
well.
third, I've went with Perez. I feel like he's going to be the feist. He's going to be sergeant at arms of the world championship again. I think there's going to be a lot more 1-2s for Red Bull, but I just feel like over the year,
I think the relationship with him and Max has been down the toilet a wee bit.
I really hope it has, and we can actually get a. I mean, say Red Bull is the dominant. How great would it be if Perez could actually give it to him?
The way I see it, Perez, man, you're going to. If you're falling out with Max, the likelihood is you'll be getting moved on soon. So you may as well make the most of this fucking car while you've got it.
Exactly.
I don't want to see him sitting back.
Who have you went with third?
I've went with Carlos Sainz.
Carlos Sainz. Oh, so we've basically got a Perez and.
Carlos Sainz was the better Ferrari driver in the second half of last season.
You heard it here first. Right, second.
He actually was, like.
I know he was.
Second, I've went with Charles Leclerc.
I hope Leclerc does win. But again,
I just don't like seeing the same person dominate.
I know.
I didn't like seeing Hamilton dominate, and I don't want Max to go and do the same. And last season was very boring. People didn't like Schumacher dominating. I tell you what, I think I would say between when Alonso like ended Schumacher's dominance and up till Vettel began his 4-year reign, I felt like that was a very exciting period in F1.
You didn't. Yeah, for a good solid chunky.
Alonso was double. He retained it, and then you went to Kimi, who won his first title. Then we went to Hamilton, who obviously had the battle with Massa, and then the next season it wasn't as competitive, but Button towards the end was getting reeled in by the Red Bull. So
I mean, it wasn't as competitive, but at least
2009 was a weird season.
At least after the first 6 races, it was like, who fuck is winning this?
Then in 2010, obviously, it was really competitive. You had the 3 teams near the top, 5 drivers going for the title. But yeah, 11, 12, and 13. Even though 12 in like the opening 7 races, or the opening half, it was very close. At the end of the day, it was still a dominant season by Red Bull.
Yep.
I mean, the fact that Alonso even got to a title, the last race title decider was a miracle. But yeah, no, I just think that was a good period for F1 where you'd new winners. I mean, not necessarily like new race winners, but you'd like every season. It didn't feel like it was the same pair. I just feel like lately we've been in. You went straight from like the Vettel era into the Mercedes era. It's not like we had a couple of seasons where the grid was mixed up and it just went from Vettel dominating to Mercedes dominating, and then it's went from. I'm hoping not, but it looks like it's went from Mercedes dominating to Max dominating.
See, that's what happens, right? Because I remember
remember, Mercedes domination wasn't that bad when it was Hamilton and Rosberg, because they actually went at it, and it was, close. But then it went for... It just went to
No, but that's how F1 goes. 2009, you wanted Vettel to beat Button, right? And then the next 4 years, he hated Vettel. See, in 2014, it was like, yes, Mercedes have fucked Vettel. But then it was like, oh, fuck, this is pish. That's how F1 goes.
I know, that's why I don't like it. That's why I'm saying I don't want Verstappen.
I bet you a lot of people...
Yeah, I wanted Verstappen to win 2 years ago. I don't want him to
bet you a lot of people loved Alonso where he hoovered Michael's titles off him. But see when fucking 2007
They
came...
didn't want him to be a 3-time world champ.
That's how it goes. That's just how it goes.
No, I accept that, and I'm just letting you know that I don't want Red Bull or Verstappen to win this year.
I don't, but we've went with Verstappen first. You know what? I don't know what odds he is. He was 5-6 last time I looked. That was before testing. Get the fucking house on it. I mean, honestly, even if Red Bull were the third fastest, right, but still decent, I'd still think he'd win it.
Well, see, I think he's got what the other 2 top teams don't. I think he's got number 1 status.
He's got favoritism.
I think he's got it. I mean, he definitely has it. Let's be real. I mean, Charles Leclerc is kind of viewed as the number 1 Ferrari driver, but I don't feel like he does have that preferential.
What about Alonso? He's number 1. Or is Lawrence Stroll going to be like, right, son, you're the man?
Well, here's the thing. Yeah, Alonso will be number 1 for the pure fact that he will be better than Stroll. But if Aston Martin had such a lead where Stroll and Alonso were easily finishing 1-2, I wonder would it be different? Would the opportunity to make Stroll be a champion just be too good to turn
I tell you
down?
what, right? See the fact Stroll hasn't had testing and Alonso's look good. How big's the gap going to be on Sunday or on Saturday?
I think we could be seeing close to a second. Like,
I think we're looking at a possibility of like Alonso's literally battling for the podium and Stroll's battling for fucking 11th.
yeah, I think it could be one of those things where Alonso's battling for the maybe first couple of rows and Stroll's not getting into Q3.
That's it. We have to talk about constructors now. We've got AlphaTauri in 10th.
I've got AlphaTauri in 10th.
I think they're the worst drivers lineup.
Me too.
Yep. Right. Williams coming in at 9th.
I've got Williams 9th as well. So far, so good.
Haas 8th.
I've got Haas 8th.
7th McLaren.
And I've went away Alfa Romero.
Fair enough. I went with Alfa Romero 6th.
I went with Alpine 6th.
Ooh, 5th I've went with Alpine.
Okay, I've got McLaren 5th.
4th I've went with Aston Martin.
I went with Aston Martin for the pure fact is I just think they will fade away and it's going to be Alonso scoring the majority of the points. Now, if the two Alonsos, I could maybe see them getting forward, but let's be real.
It's mad. You know what? Even if they had the fastest car, I'd probably still predict them to finish 4th. Because Stroll's shite. So anyway, 3rd I've Mercedes.
I've also Mercedes in 4th.
2nd with Ferrari.
I've actually not got Ferrari in 2nd.
You've went with Red Bull.
Aye.
A lot of people have went like that.
I think Leclerc and Sainz will outscore Max and Perez.
I hope there is a change like that. But anyway, guys, that is it.
But I mean, there's been a lot of years where, I've backed Ferrari and it hasn't really happened. They have to get it right sooner or later, don't they?
No, they do.
When was the last time Ferrari won a constructors title? I don't think they've won it since.
2007.
That's because McLaren got dumped out.
Wait, they won it in 2008?
So they did actually. Like you say, that's because Heikki Kovalainen was shite.
Exactly. He gave his pish.
So they haven't won it since 2008.
Yeah.
Hold on here. They should have won it in 2008. They had Massa and Kimi. McLaren had bloody Hamilton and Heikki Kovalainen.
Heikki Kovalainen. Right, anyway, that is it. We'll be back tomorrow for practice.
No, but it is weird how dominance goes, isn't it? Ferrari and Schumacher dominance, and then since then they've barely won a. They've won one driver.
I don't know, but they had Ross Brawn and John Todd. That was the fucking year.
Dream team, like.
See, every time you're watching the DVDs and those fuckers come on screen, it was like
you knew business are ready to pick up, and you
fucking. Do you want to do a 9-stopper, Michael? Aye, I'll be there.
But the thing is, like Barrichello was actually really good.
Michael made him his bitch.
It's not awful.
Fucking put a lead on him and walked him about.
But it's like, the glory days, like, right? Michael made it look easy. Michael made it look as if the Ferrari had like a fucking Mercedes 2014 gap.
And it really didn't. But anyway, that is it. We'll be back tomorrow for Bahrain practice. We'll probably do our predictions after practice because we're fuds.
Could you imagine if Mercedes... Could you imagine if Bottas was replacing Rosberg in 2014?
I'd kill myself.
Since that season was the biggest... That was like a 2-second gap, man. Not even a joke. It is a joke. Mercedes were literally fucking...
That Bahrain race showed how scary it was.
Could you imagine, though, if you never had that Rosberg and Hamilton feud?
I know, literally. But anyway,
it absolutely sucked.
That is us wrapping up. Hopefully it's a good season. Hopefully it's an entertaining one with 23 races.
Out of curiosity, what's the most disappointing race you've ever seen?
Race?
Is the USA 2005 up there?
I'd say it was like... It's iconic, though.
Yeah, and Barrichello was competing for the win. And Schumacher was like, nah.
It's always going to be great seeing a wee fucking Jordan Montero on the podium.
Thiago Monteiro, is he the worst driver to get a podium?
I'd say... You know what? No, what I'd actually say? I'd probably say 2010 Abu Dhabi. Because 4 drivers were into it, and it kind of all just got decided because Vitaly Petrov's Renault was unovertakeable.
Yeah, that sucked.
Like, it wasn't like it was decided on track. Like, how many times are you going to get 4 drivers going into a race weekend competing for a title and some guy who's fucking irrelevant and Russian decides it? Unless Putin presses a button.
But it was weird because they pitted Webber because the tyres were going off. And then Alonso follows in Webber, and as soon as Alonso came in, magically, Vettel and Hamilton's tyres came back to life. It was like,
Fucking screw
The
job.
fix was on, I think.
It was. Fucking was. Anyway, that's it. Till then. Woo!